Y'all country much. I got a project for a client. They got an 18-wheeler they need to stop at the same place every time. I've got some material out here I'm fixing to bring in with the machine. We're going to build a backstop, and when that's finished, afterwards there should be, it catches dust. There should be a backboard over the back of the trailer to control where the dust goes. But for right now, my plan is just to see, can I build something strong enough these people don't run over it with a truck and trailer. The past owner used to have a saying that about the time you think you got something idiot proof, along comes a bigger idiot. What I've selected is 4x4 tubing. 4x4, 3/8 thick. I asked him to cut them 8 foot. I couldn't done no better myself. And that one's a fraction of an inch difference. I'll have 1/2 inch plate, 4 tying these together. These are where the truck's gonna hit. That's pretty much gonna be a leg, depends on the length of it. It's the drop, so it might be off. Yeah, it's slightly over what I actually need. It's not a problem there at all. These go 16 inches apart for the truck to bump in, so that I'm doing them that way so there's multiple points on multiple trailers. And that way, if this doesn't catch them that well, once it's the right distance apart, that'll close off both ends so nothing can get in there. I'll have at least 3 ties in the middle, 2, 4, 6, and 8. It'll be about 48 inches tall. When it's finished, there'll be a 6 inch by 1/2 inch thick bar all the way across the top of all this. That's to put the upper backstop on for the actual control where the dust goes, so it doesn't. What's happening is covering the machine that's delivering it to the trailer, and we're afraid it's going to burn the motor up over time. So we're trying to get the truck to stop at the same place every time with this. It'll be anchored to the concrete 9 ways to Sunday, and with a full backstop up top, at least we can control some of the dust that's blowing back on the machine that's in jeopardy of burning the engine up, the motor. It's an electric motor. All right, I'm gonna start arranging these. Like I said, I've got 1/2 inch plate going in the center of all that stuff. I'm gonna get everything cut up, tacked up, and then welded out when I'm satisfied that's what I need. And then from there, it's just welded on 2 posts with base plates. A rough drawing of what we're planning here. That's the truck. Wheel ain't big enough. There we go. That's more like it. They've all got a bumper down here. That drops out at 32 off the ground. And then right here, anything above there could get damaged, so we're stopping at 48 tall. It'll back into these 2 pieces I'm putting together 16 inches apart from 32 to 48. And it'll be gusset welded all to the posts with a plate anchored to the ground here. And then there'll be an angle brace back to a concrete behind it. And it'll also be anchored to the ground. That way when they back into it, hopefully it knocks teeth out of their head. So, I come over here to look at my bar stock, and the other tube laying right there, I saw that on the ground. Looks like we'll have a future project. Because now that's leaking. I knew it was weeping a little bit. In fact, all 4 cylinders probably going to need rebuilt pretty soon. I might just do those together. See how wet that one is. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I wasn't quite ready for that, but here we are. Out of the way. What I've done here, These are exactly 16 inches apart. They cross out, measure from this corner to that corner, and from this corner to that corner. Spot on. So now I've got to cut some bar stock up for the ends, and for the pieces I'm gonna put in the middle to connect them. I'm doing all this. These people are rough on stuff. I'm doing this in hopes that this won't have to be visited again. I don't know about the backstop. These I'm cutting 15 and a half. That's gonna give me more room to weld around them. That was certainly a better method than the grinder. Of course, there'll be some prep, but the plan is to step that back, give me room to put the weld and fill those edges. That's dead nut 16. This should be 8. It's 8. I need 3 4-inch spreader bars to go in the middle. One at 2 foot. My plan here, I'm only going to drop about an 1/8. We'll say 3/16. I'll make them all the same. That'll give me room to dig under them, get full pin to the center. I think that'll be enough. Alright, radius these corners a little. Cleaned up all 4 sides of this. This is already a clean cut. I just knocked the burr off the edge. Cleaned up where each of these are going to go. Of course, same over here. Make sure nothing's protruding. And I'm just going to step back part of that distance and part of that distance. That's why I did them 15 and a half instead of 16. That's going to hang over the difference. This piece is going to hang down the difference. That's what I'll weld to the legs. Plus all the other connection points, and we'll probably gusset it as well. Pack everything in. Let's see how it fits up. Well, that's the basic plan. 1, 2, 3 center. They'll be welded well. I've left this all the way around. I'll weld all of that out. Right now it's simply tack. And then my 4x4 post. One of these posts will stand up right here, decked with the top. It'll have a 6-inch piece across the top to put the rest of it to. This is only going to be 48 inches to here, and that'll be about 32. Alright, now I'm finished with this path. That's doubled. I never did do anything to those, just finished them off. I don't see a fail point in any of that. That looks fine. In my opinion, that looks fine. Yes, that's not pretty. And that's undercut on the end of the tube. I don't think that's going to be a fail point. I'm satisfied with this much of it. And then we'll have to get the legs. I don't know what it weighs right now. It's all I can do to turn it over. It is heavy. But the idea is it's not going to give, and once it's anchored to the concrete, it's not going to move. Alright, we're going to poke a few holes in here. Got my marks. My slugger. This is a pretty good drill. I really like it. This is right there. On. If you do metal work, these are invaluable drills. Mag drill of any kind. I'm not going to promote a brand. This is a great one. And like I said, I just use water. If I got a weld on it, I don't want to be welding over oil, smoke, and whatever. A tiny amount of soap, some water. That's all you need. It'll wipe right off. Yeah, it'll flash rust. But in where we're at, it don't matter. It's going to flash rust anyway. That's all the hole boring for this side. Alright, this is my mock-up. This fit the curb. This got to go against. Right there's the curb, and it's at an angle to how this goes, 50-something degrees. Without building this, if I build this in place, it's got to shut the operation down. There's dust everywhere, subject to catch the building on fire. Alright, so I made a mock-up right off of where I want it with this thing. That's the curb. Gonna come across here some weird skewed angle, and way over there is the other side. This one is intimate with the curb. So I've studied. What I'm gonna do is go ahead and weld all this together like I need it. Then I'll find me a straight section of something to put across here at the elevation I need. And when I mock that one up, I'll come to whatever I put across here. It may be a piece of this steel. It may have to be a piece of 2x or 6x. I mean. Something large enough to hold its dimension, shape, and stay where I put it. Got this much mocked up. This piece will go up here, lock down on top of the curb. All the bevels. I've made my bolts far enough apart, I don't think it'll be a problem. That's pretty high compared to there. If they have to, we'll cut the bolt off and get done. But that odd skew, that's how the curb matches up to our barricade. A quick discussion of concept. There's a gap right there. That means this is tighter than 90. It might be 89 degrees or so. That's a representation of what we're doing here. Right now, that's slightly more than 90. However, when I weld that, the weld will shrink and pull it to less than. Once I get it where I want it, I will weld some on this side, some on the other side to counteract that as I go across. This is the representation of the shape I need, and I've changed it some, but that's the same shape. It's just I've shortened some pieces. Alright, I'll try to weld it out. I've also left this gap. That's for my weld penetration. It also gives me the exact elevation I need. This is that curb. This post is on its side, it'll stand up. That's the top of the curb, that's the base of the curb. Once it's stood up and welded to that, that's what will connect it to our frame. Right now it's just laying there. It goes on the post at a skew, as I've showed you drawn on the ground. All right, I'll tack it out. I've got that welded on the bottom now. I'm planning this to fill these voids because that's such a narrow location down in there. It's just gonna catch sawdust and stuff. So I'm planning on closing that up, both sides. It'll also, instead of just this weld and a small one here, it'll join every bit of that. So that's where I'm headed now. This one's welded up partially. I'm still gonna, every possible location I'm welding it. That's what it looks like from the top. I beveled that, we saw. That's ready. We'll clean it up, get it ready for paint later. Same there, tied all that together. That one's ready. I told you I'll run a straight edge across here. This one's getting in place. I'm too tall, I'm not worried about that. What I did, rather than beveling the bottom, I just raised it. It's over an 1/8 inch in places, but I just raised it up. We know this concrete and their concrete may not be as regular. I'm just being nice there. I don't know how it's gonna work. If I have to, I can shim it when I get there. That may be part of it. But right now I know this is a little high. So I'm gonna go ahead and weld that on. Weld it, tack it, then bring it up here and weld it all out. I'll bring it back and figure out my height, because right now that is relatively close enough for what we're doing. What the weld out look like. satisfied with that. Alright, bring it back up. Alright, both these legs is welded on. I paralleled this board with the frame. It's 4.5 from here, 4.5 from here. And I've set my little rafter square up here. And according to my calculation at the site, it should be close to 56 degrees. And that is 57, maybe 58. I could attribute that much to how that's on there. At this point, this is a curb of concrete poured. As long as it is parallel in this frame, it should work. Elevation matters, and I was curious how this was a lesser height. Well, the entire slope comes up to this curb. So that should be correct the way I have it. That's what I'm saying, this is a really frustrating. That's 56 degrees, give or take. This is the trailer backing in here at an angle. And now I've got to make a plate that grab it. It's up there welded. And a gusset angle brace, whatever you want to call it, to go across from up here somewhere to it. This is it. It's going to hang down the curb here. I'm going to put some bolts through here and some up there. It's cooling at the moment. It's hot. Just welded it. I know I'm not showing every detail of this, but it'll be hard enough to get it watchable to begin with. There's a lot going on. After it again. What's that? That's sad state of affairs. Back at it. I got some help today. That's about the best help I could find. But then again, I did get a head welder. Anyway, we got to get her happening. I stopped by and made a few more calculations, made sure everything's right. And I got a game plan to finish this out. It's my idea to get some approximations. This 2x represents the steel piece. One of these I'm going to put there. So I'm going to shoot that across. Copy that angle. I've got to allow enough that I can put the bird mouth, I call it, in this end. That represents the top of the curb. That's going to keep them from pushing this over. Get some. Alright, now I've transferred that to here. And believe it or not, some of that makes sense to me. That was supposed to be an 8 degree. These are on here. I can measure them. I'm going to go out there and cut one off the 4-inch stock, 60 inches long. Should be plenty long enough for my calculations. There's my tape down there. I'm looking at it up here. Alright, 60 goes almost to the top, so that should be plenty. What I'm trying to do is replace this twisted piece of 4x6 with that piece of iron out there. That piece of iron should be straight enough to call it at that curb, right? So if I can lay out that crazy looking angle on it, the bird mouth I call it on the bottom, and cut it, then I can take the rest of it in there with a skid steer, have me a good straight edge, and even tack weld it to it. That's the plan. If you hear the music playing in the background, I may need you to sign a waiver promising YouTube that you're not truly listening to it. Well, I'm finna lay this out. The 60 inches I indicated was to that bird mouth, we're calling it. And that's right there 60. We'll call it, there we go. Good enough. Alright, I really don't want as much as that on the top as I've got. I don't want all that there. And that angle's right about 70. It's 70 degrees, see, but I can do this number with it. I can put it anywhere I want. I you know, I'm gonna come back by, oh, right there. That's 4 inches. That's 70 degrees. I'm looking right down. That's that. Alright. This angle here, it should be 20, right? Because 70 and 20 is 90. That's 20. You know how to do this, don't you? Alright, there's 20. Right there's 20. I want it to break out in that same location. I'm looking right down the pipe, and there's my 20. That's how that works out. Being as there's no possible way that I can cut this on the bevel, I'm gonna have to cut that into it. But I do need to throw that 8 on there. Let's see, can I roll this without catastrophic events happening? Alright. So this 8 comes back that way. That's roughly 8 degrees. I've got to kind of guess where this comes to. Looks like about right there, and that 8 I said goes that way. So that 8's got to go across here such as this. I'm gonna call it right there. And a lot of this gets filled up with oil, so I'm trying to learn myself a good tight fit, but it ain't exactly what you're looking for. You need room to put the weld. You gotta have some penetration in your life, in your steel. Alright. Well, if that one's 8, this one's 8. That angle go back that way, and this angle gotta go back that way. I'm trying to learn you a little bit. I don't know if I'm telling you right, or if you're paying attention, or if I'm teachable. That should go that way. I'm almost certain that's correct. We'll check it. If it's not, I'll put another mark on here. Alright. That one goes that way. That one goes that way. And they both go that way. Evidently that curb's closer over here than it is over here. Gosh, it's heavy. Alright, I don't think I need that for the time being. Let's roll this one more time. Beyond she blows. I really just, I need to figure out that before. This is fun. This is fun. This is 4 inches long to stopping point right there at 70 degrees. There's 70 degrees right there. That's as close as I'll get. That's to here. Alright, this should be 20. If I've got it right. I don't have it right. I'm missing something there. I'm gonna guess I lost more on that long one than the short one. Let me do this. I see a problem. I've been reading it wrong. I'm going with it though. At this rate, we'll fine tune it when we get in there. Ain't too bad off. What I'm reading wrong. We'll get you right down here in the leaves with me. What I'm reading it wrong is where that's catching is not the edge. It's catching there, so I wasn't doing a 70. If I was doing a 70, I'd be back here. I wasn't even reading it. I was probably reading 70. I was probably reading a 72 right there. And that's going to affect me. I think for the likelihood that I've got some extra, I'm going to go ahead and cut it, and I'll get it up there and fine tune it after I've cut it. I'm almost certain. Let's see here. That's 70. Yes, I would be reading more of 71. Just looking at where this is striking and where it's meant to be down there on the other end. All right, we'll chop it up. See if we can figure it out. Yeah. I don't know who didn't remind me we got a plasma. But anyway. That's 3/8 wall, ain't too bad. For a chintzy. There's your rough fit up. It's skewed at the very moment because it keeps sliding right here. When I get that over where I want it, it's gonna be like that. And I'm gonna fill all that. I think that's gonna look very nice. It keeps sliding over. I'm gonna back these bolts up just a little bit to keep them having me a straight line. Put one here, one here, and one here. And there'll be 4 down there. And those 4. So there'll be 12 on this side, 3, 6, 8 on that side. And as the way this thing's designed, when the truck hits it, it's trying to close the door. That's keeping it from closing the door. That's anchoring it to the earth. And it's got to twist that or bend it back, that 3/8. So I'm satisfied that I got to take it over here and bore my holes. And then I'll do my final weld up. It'll be ready to clean. That's, again, this is the representation of my curb, my piece of my concrete I can't do anything about. And that matches here. Very nice. Equal gap, even though it ain't perfectly where it's up in there. The weld's keeping it out the corner. It's the height I want it. It's slightly out of level, but I've compensated for that. Well, we'll see. I hope I ain't eating crow on this and it won't fit. I'll do everything I can to make it fit. I'd hate to have to cut it apart, but I think it's gonna work. Boring holes and weld it up. Worth its weight in gold. You get into stuff like this, I had to bore a 7/8 hole and a 5/8 flange, and we used at least 5 drill bits, one successively larger than the last, and burn up a drill, possibly 2. I don't remember, several years ago. These annular cutters They do it all day long. Keep them cool, don't overheat them. And I choose soap and water. You could use oil, if that's what you want to do. There's no reason you can't. I just don't like getting snotty oil all over the place. I'd rather come home and be able to wash what gets in my clothes out of my clothes. All right, I'm gonna clean it up, bring it over here, we'll test fit it one more time. If I like it, we'll throw the booger weld to it. I know some of you thought that anyway. Sadly, one more day incomplete. This is on. I've got to double that up. I've done got everything else welded like I want it. This is just tacked at the moment. I'll hem it up much better than that. Then I'll have to clean it up pretty good and get the paint on it. I'm planning on a gusset here, a little angle brace here, and here. I don't think that's going to flex a lot, but I think it would help. There's going to be a 9-foot stand on top of it, so that's what it looks like so far. That's the curb over there. All right, it is installed. That was an obscure curb, had to figure out. Off camera, I built that piece to put in because the first time they backed in here, it alerted me that they will knock it over. We still got to build a backstop to close the back of that trailer to keep the dust in check. We also painted them 2 lines on the ground so they could line the trailer up a little better. Of course, it ain't perfect. You see why I won't weld on site? This is non-stop. We couldn't shut the operation down just to build that barricade. If you hung around watching enough of this, I certainly appreciate you. This is the first trailer exchange. He'll be back in a minute with another trailer to put in here. Dust hoofs out of that in the back of the truck. I just want to come over here and watch him as he backs in. See how firm he hits it and make sure it's not flexing more than I'm comfortable. Get under it. There you go. Let's see when he bumps this and make sure everything's. You're doing excellent. Come on. Come on. Come on. I'm gonna have to commend him. That was the smoothest. He barely touched that. That was perfect. Sometimes they ram it though. Anyway, that's the final update there.